Now, is it just me, or does this latest update in Photoshop Beta, when selecting people, remind you of Terminator 2? Okay, so Photoshop Beta has recently had a superb update showing how Adobe are enhancing selections of people, making it so much quicker and easier by making Photoshop recognize even more individual parts. Up until now in Camera Raw and Lightroom, when there are people in a photograph, the software has been doing a great job of being able to recognize individuals and then drill down further to make one-click selections of hair, skin, clothes, eyes, and so on. But this update takes it a step further. Now, this is still in beta, so not the final version, but check this out. So here in Photoshop, I have this picture open of myself with two of my friends, Ian Munro and Anthony Crothers. Now I'll go to the object selection tool in the toolbar over on the left-hand side, and in the options bar at the top of the screen, we have this select people icon. If I click on that, straight away we can see that Photoshop has recognized the amount of people in the photograph, and those are represented by these thumbnails. And you'll notice that as I put my cursor over each of these thumbnails, the corresponding person in the photograph is highlighted with this magenta outline. There's also this icon over on the left-hand side where all of the people in the photograph are selected as one entire selection. Now, if I click down on a thumbnail, I'll click down on the one of myself. It then opens up this section here where we have individual masks. And these are the kind of masks that we've been used to seeing now for a while, where we have things like hair, which Photoshop has done an incredible job, even finding an ounce of hair on my head. But we have eyebrows, eyes, pupil, nose, mouth, and so on and so forth. At the very top, it says entire person. Now, if I just leave that as it is and just come down and click on apply, what that will do is then you'll see a selection going around me represented by the marching ants just there. But let's just go back one step. Let's come back into the object selection tool where we have select people, and I'll click again on my thumbnail. Now again, here we have the mask that we're kind of used to seeing for a while, but underneath here, you'll notice that it says show more. Now also, just one thing to mention is that all of these masks here are not generic. You don't see these on every single person. It's only for that specific person. Like here we've got beard because I have a beard. Now, if we click on show more masks appear, and this is the update. So now we have things like upper body skin, upper clothes, hands, arms, and lower clothes. So let's just say, for example, then that I want to edit my t-shirt. I'll click on upper clothes and we can see the magenta outline now going around my t-shirt. Then I'll click on apply to get the marching ant selection. What I'll do then is I'll come to the contextual taskbar. Let's just drag that down the bottom here so we can see it. And I'll click on this little icon here to modify the selection. I'll go to feather selection and I'll just add in a 1 pixel radius of feather and just click on OK. Let's just say that I want to change the color of it. So I'll come back down to the contextual taskbar and I'll click on the adjustment layer icon just here. That opens up the adjustment layer panel and I'll go to the hue and saturation. And in here, I can just change the hue. So I'll drag that around to maybe around about there. We can change the saturation for less or more. And we can also darken it down just a touch like that. So that's upper clothing. If I wanted to maybe change my jeans so they look like a newer pair of jeans, I would just come back into the select people icon, wait for it to show me again, click on the thumbnail, click on show more, and then I'll go to lower clothes and click on apply. I will again add that feathering. So I'll go to the modify selection, feather. It remembers the amount I used the last time I used this part here. So I'll just leave it at 1 pixel radius, click OK, and then I'll grab a hue and saturation adjustment layer. And I'm just going to increase the saturation on my jeans and I'll darken them down just a little bit as well. So they just look a little bit newer, or maybe even just a different style. So something like that. Really quick, very, very easy to do. Now, if I go back to the select people icon here, this time, instead of myself, I'll choose maybe Ian. And you can see here, look, there's no mention of a beard because obviously Ian doesn't have a beard. So this is what I mean about them not being generic masks. It really does look at that individual person to see what masks it can create. I'll click on show more, and you can see here, look, it says accessories. Now, this is interesting because it's kind of picking up his watch over on his left wrist just there, and there's something in here that it's kind of picking up as well. Not quite sure what that is, but again, this is beta. This is the beta version. It's not the final version. So there are going to be some times when maybe it doesn't pick up things that you want it to, or maybe it picks up more than you want it to. But I'll show you in another picture in a minute, the accessories. So let's just come out of this one here. This time, let's open up this picture. Now, this is some friends that I made when I was out in San Francisco, spending time with Adobe a few weeks back. This is Christoph, we've got Toby, and we've got Mel's. Now, I'll go to the object selection tool. And here we have select people again at the top here. You can see the little icon spinning, so it's analyzing the image to see who is in the picture. That's now stopped. And when I click on select people, it recognizes that there are 4 individual people. Now, if I just for now bring my cursor over each of these people, look at the difference here. Look, it recognizes that there's a hat. Obviously, we've got all the facial features, but individual parts of clothing as well. And this is what I mean now, look, about accessories. There's Mel's camera. There's Toby's accessories just here. There's his strap, his shoulder strap, Christoph's camera. Unbelievable how this is picking up all those individual sections. Even Mel's earrings is actually finding just there. But let me just go to Christoph. I'm going to click on his thumbnail to open up his options, and we'll go to show more. And let's just say that I want to go to the, let's say I want to change the color of his jacket. Now, that's either going to be upper clothes, but actually look, next to it, it says coat. It can even tell the difference between the upper clothing. So we've got a coat and we've got a hoodie. So it actually makes the two as 2 separate items, which is incredible. So I'll click on coat. That's there now, got the outline, and then I'll click on apply to make the selection. But you can see again, look, it has kind of not picked all of it up. It's kind of missed a bit here, and it's included some sections that we don't want. And again, this is purely because it's beta, but I think this is a really, really good start. I can tidy this up really simply by just coming over to the selection brush tool. That's what's selected at the minute. Some areas that I don't want, so let's just get the, hold on the Option key on Mac or Alt key on Windows, and we'll just brush this off. We don't need it to be selecting that. I'll come around there, down this part here. Just do this really quickly. We want to include that. I'm not holding down the Option key now. Let's just get that off there. So we want to include that. I'll just take it off the areas that I don't want. So I'm just brushing around using the Option key or not using the Option key just to kind of tidy it up how I want the selection to be. I'm not holding it down now as I brush over this part of the jacket down here. But even having to tidy this up, like I say, this is going to just get better and better. But even just tidying this bit up here is a lot quicker than having to make a selection of the entire object. But that's looking pretty good for now. So then I'll come out of the tools and we have the selection. I'll come over to the adjustment layers here. Let's go for hue and saturation. I can see here now, look, change the color of his jacket. Really cool how it's doing that. Absolutely love it. Really love it. So that's that one there. Let's just double click on the hand tool to center the image. And then we'll just come over to this particular picture here where there's even more people. So again, I'll come to the object selection tool. We see it analyzing the image here by this little icon spinning around. That just takes a second or two while it's just looking at the picture. That's now stopped. Click on select people and we can see here, look, here's the individual people. When there's more people, we get a plus icon. We can do all of the people just here. But look, if I bring my cursor over, here's all the people just there. It's even picked up Pratik in the background just there. But if I wanted to change the color of Matt's top here, Matt Kloskowski's top, I'll click down on his upper clothing. That's now got the magenta outline there. We can see it. There's the actual selection. I'll come out of the object selection tool. Then we'll go to the hue and saturation. I could do a bit of a feather, but I'll just leave that now. Let's just go straight into hue and saturation and just give him a bit of different color top just there. Let's increase the saturation. Something like that. Maybe something like that would be good. And we'll just darken it down a bit as well. So there we go. Really cool stuff. And thinking this is just the beta, this is exciting times. So exciting times seeing how selections are constantly being improved. And if you want to give this a try, if you haven't already, just download the Photoshop Beta app from the Creative Cloud app and you're good to go. And when you do use it, make sure to provide feedback to Adobe by clicking on the beta feedback icon. You click on the appropriate section, and then you have this feedback section here on the right. Okay, that's all for this video. So if you've got any questions or comments, just make sure you use the comment section below, and I'll catch you in the next one.